Hi, I'm Stephen John Drew from Better Podcasting, a proud member of the Gonna Geek Network. Just like the show you're listening to now, the opinions expressed are those of the individual hosts. Check out all the other geeky podcasts at GonnaGeekNetwork.com and get ready because geekiness begins in 3, 2, 1.
Stand by for a brand new episode of All Things Good and Nerdy.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to episode 425 of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. This is recorded live on Sunday, November 8th, 2020, over at geeks.live. Yes, that is a real URL. It is the official home of the Gonna Geek Network's live streaming shows. I'm Chris, and joining me today, I've got the usual gang and a little surprise, but we'll start with the usuals first. We'll go with one, Willie D. Nelson.
Hey, that's me. It's me. Hey, everybody. I'm Willie D. It's who I be. Go on with the next one. That's all I got.
That's all he got. But next up, one, Mr. Anthony Bachman with a bunch of children behind him.
Bunch of children, yeah. And a call back to something happened last night that was pretty cool. It had been a while since I'd heard "Hello, there."
That's enough of that.
I didn't have a chance to watch it yet. I didn't watch SNL yet because the Notre Dame game went to overtime and threw everything off. So
yeah,
I just went to bed.
You should watch it.
But before we move too much further, though, Anthony, you did bring one of our good friends back. Who do you got for us today?
Yeah, I got the heart of comics. I got the coolest motherfucker I ever hung out with at a con. I got the man that knows more about music than most humans walking the planet, and the writer of some of the coolest damn stories I've ever read, the one and only Shawn Pryor.
Oh, that's the wrong picture.
What
Chris.
What is this?
Chris.
That's still left over from last week.
What you doing, fam?
I'm sorry, Sean. See,
That's
you have
a incompetent
professional
producer.
working behind it. A
Yeah.
professional.
Our producer just killed us.
So for those that aren't aware, last week we had a guest on the show who didn't have a video feed, so we put a static image up, and I forgot to turn it off on the guest feed on my scene switcher. So
It's all good. It's all good. Hey, thank you for having me back on the show, y'all. I appreciate y'all. Letting me come on back so we could talk about projects and also share some Toys R Us retail worker stories and whatnot.
it's what the people want, both of those, because they like your work, but they also like hearing the Toys R Us stories from years past.
You gotta give the people what they want.
Hey, we've never been accused of not giving the people what they want on this show. We've given them too much of what they want at times.
That's how unprotected device came about.
Exactly. That's how our best segment ever came about. Willie's favorite.
Well, everyone's favorite about Willie.
Well, I don't know about that, but before we
I said what I said.
Before we go too far down our path of hijinks, I think we should probably throw things over to Shawn and be like, okay, tell us about the upcoming project. It's Ignition issue 2, right?
Yes, yeah. It's on Kickstarter right now. It's a project called Ignition. It's a mini-series. This is the second issue out of 4. It's a story about a disgraced race car driver who is now a transporter, and the job that she's taken, basically it's the opportunity of a lifetime. But there's a lot of danger, high-speed thrills, and other things that Jamel Reed, the former disgraced race car driver, is not aware of. And in issue 2, everything, just picks up, takes off, no pun intended, to all new levels. So right now, the Kickstarter is 50% funded. We're trying to get to 100%, trying to raise $4,000 overall. Like I said, right now we're a little bit over 2,000. And if you want to check out the project, you can get to the Kickstarter page by typing theignitioncomic.com, or you can go to Kickstarter, type the keyword ignition, and that will take you to the page as well. So yeah, man, we got like all different types of cool variant covers. And if you missed out on issue 1,
like me,
that's okay. It's okay. If you missed out on issue 1, it's okay, because in the Kickstarter, we also offer a digital copy of issue 1 and a reprinting of issue 1 as well. So, like, cause my whole thing, like, with doing comics this way is that I always want to make sure that, new people can hop on in too. There's no need to cut off people. There should be a door open that says, hey, you think this is cool? Well, yeah, you can check it out too. This is for you as well. Come on through. So we always want to make sure that we have opportunities for people to be able to get previous issues. And it'll be like that when we do a Kickstarter for issue 3. You'll be able to get a second printing of issue 1. A third printing of issue 1 and a second printing of issue 2. But like in this case, we got some really cool covers by fantastic artists such as Rory Comics and Elizabeth Bales and Kelly Guillory, who was our sequential series artist, Tracina Bowling, Megan Wong, and Tiana Conyers. And so and cool T-shirts, all types of stuff, all types of rewards you can get. And also, we have this thing where now instead of having to worry about using something like Backer Kit, if you pick a reward and you want other stuff, now you can just add stuff on.
Oh, cool.
Easy peasy. So like I got some books from my older catalog that are part of the add-ons, or say for instance, like, oh yeah, I want this cover, but you know what? I want one other cover too. Let me get that too. Boom. And so we just want to keep it simple for everybody. We want to make sure everybody can get what they would like. And I'm also like, it's a cool story. Like, look, I'm a big fan of Fast and Furious movies. I'm glad there's going to be 11 of those movies. Makes my day, makes my heart warm in a cold world. I saw that face, Woodley. I saw that face.
I mean, I'm not a fan of them, but I do appreciate how wild and crazy they got. But I'm personally just not a fan of them. They haven't really caught me. That's all.
They are what they're supposed to be, a wild, crazy popcorn flick adventure.
I'm not saying anything bad about them.
Shawn and Martheus and Julian call them, which is the motherfucking Black Avengers.
One thing I can say, one bad thing about them,
and they're awesome.
The naming convention for number 4 that is ridiculous. One of them is the Fast and Furious, and then the fourth one was either that or it was just Fast and Furious. They either got rid of or added the thes.
Right.
That's so confusing.
No, then that was no lie. That was all right. That's cool.
It makes him a pain in the ass on Doug Loves Movies because he makes them say the correct title when they answer a movie. And if one of the answers is a Fast and the Furious films, it's tough.
I don't remember which one's which either.
Sounds like you need to rewatch.
Yeah.
I technically only watched the first one. The second
You can't even say you don't like them, man, unless you own the 8-disc Blu-ray like me and have just watched all of them
I have
again.
to own it?
If
Yes, you have to own it and then decide if you like it.
If they're on Amazon,
Hobbs and Shaw, does that have to be included in that?
well, yeah.
It's not in that box set.
It's the
but
Rock.
It's not in that box set though.
Yeah.
It's not in that box set though.
Oh, so it's a extra that you have to get.
Oh, then you have to go watch that on Google Play.
Well, see, Willie, here's the deal we can try and make. If they're available on Amazon Prime Video, we can do a watch party on Twitch, and we can watch Fast and Furious as a group on Twitch.
Look
can
at
do
Willie's
comments.
face. Look at Willie's face.
I mean, I remember the first one.
Were they still DVD players?
Can we just skip ahead to where just wild and craziness? Can we just skip to that?
No.
Not
No,
like
because
5 or 6.
If you skip to 5, then you don't really get like the craziness of like 6 when they're jumping buildings in Dubai because you just started with 5 and it's already crazy. You have to start off where it's just some dumb kids racing cars in LA, and then it's 2 dumb guys racing cars in Florida, and then it's people that nobody cares about racing cars in Tokyo.
It's all about family.
Yeah. You got to go through that part to where when it amps up, then you can understand how fucking crazy it gets.
Yeah, it gets wild, but I like the fact that it constantly transforms into and transforms into something else the further they go along.
Yes.
It went from racing cars and stealing DVD players to basically high school hijinks in Tokyo to
While fighting the mob.
Sounds like the
fighting
Foot Clan.
and fighting the mob, to then taking on the cartels, to then it becoming we're fighting up against the transporter, to them then
Terrorists,
terrorists, to then it turning into G.I. Joe, and now whatever it's going to be in number 9, and by 11 if they get to space,
we're going to space.
we going to space.
gotta go to space.
Jason made it by 10. So I think
I'm sorry, what was my title?
And the real question
Just
is,
Shaw Space Redemption?
There you go. And the real question is
Dang, that's really original.
how many more spin-offs do they do of the Fast and Furious? Because
Yeah,
I
'cause
want
when you
one.
add in the title "Fast and Furious Presents,"
Gents.
oh, you can do a lot of movies.
Yeah. Yes. So I
Hell,
wouldn't be
you can have
surprised.
Snake Plissken show up and put a new crew together every year,
Yeah, that
and
is
it
true.
could just be Mr. Nobody. Fast and Furious Presents Mr. Nobody's crew number 4.
Yep, pretty much. Pretty
Ooh,
much.
ooh, ooh! Can we get Nick Cage back from Gone in 60 Seconds crew?
They can get anybody they want. It's the
They can
Fast
get
and
anybody they
Furious.
want.
Can
Like-
we
That
get
was an
Nick
awesome
Cage
crew.
from National Treasure instead? Because they're going to
And
steal
Willie-
the Constitution now.
That Blu-ray set is only $38.75 right now on Amazon. It's 8 films for under $40.
I'd much
Yeah.
rather have Nick Cage from Gone in 60 Seconds than Nick Cage from National Treasure. Not saying that National Treasure's not a national treasure, just saying Gone in 60 Seconds. I mean, you got to go with the unicorn, man. The unicorn.
But
Yeah, I was like, how do we get back to where we were?
With a Nick Cage reference, god damn it!
wait. Here you go. My nice, awesome pillow over here.
Oh, no.
Of,
He's
yeah,
bringing out
the
face.
pillow. Yeah,
Ugh,
my greatest possession of all time.
it's
Oh,
so
geez.
creepy.
It's his greatest possession. Well, stepping back a second, I was looking at the different bundles and things that you've got going for Ignition right now, and I got to say,
Yeah.
the all the covers bundle, that's pretty damn attractive looking right there. Because I'm like, all of these covers are gorgeous, and now I don't have to choose.
right. Oh yeah, and that's the whole thing. Like, with me, it's always trying to for me, it's about giving people opportunities. And so like I said, Kelly Guillory is our sequential artist for the series, and Kelly's fantastic. And but at the same time, we have a cover by Kelly, but I always like reaching out to other artists and putting them out on display so you can see how talented they are. And because a lot of people may not know about Tracina Bowling. A lot of people may not know about Tiana Conyers. I know people. There are people in the comics community that do know about Elizabeth Bales. And Elizabeth Bales recently did a Comixology original comic with Jeremy Holt. But then there's also Megan Wong, who's also done work with Dark Horse. And so I want to present new up and coming talent with this is with the new talent that's out there right now doing their thing. And and just presenting that to the world. And so I like having these variant covers, and it's not in that annoying, well, you got to buy 30 of these covers before you can get this one cover stuff. No. Get whatever covers you want. I'm good. And the thing about it is that once this Kickstarter is over, I basically print what people ordered, and I keep a couple to keep a couple on the side to myself. But once I print them, they're not being reprinted. None of these covers are being reprinted. With the first Kickstarter, for issue 1, none of those covers are being reprinted ever. And so none of these covers after issue 2 is done, none of those covers will be reprinted. And so that's why, like I said, in the issue 3 Kickstarter, which we'll do sometime next year, there'll be a third printing for issue 1. So that's a new cover. So then there'll be a second printing for issue 2. So that's a new cover. And then, we'll have all of our different covers for issue 3. So it's kind of like you're getting something special. You're getting something special. This will never hit a retail. This cover will never hit a retail market. In other words, you got something that was basically curated for you in a lot of ways. So, and that makes it special, and it makes it kind of, it makes it, I don't want to say collectible because we read books. I know people that collect books, but we read them. So, but it's just something for you. And so, and at the same time, I get to show the world all these really dope artists. So,
Right.
I think that's a good thing.
Shawn, you mentioned what was the artist that worked with Jeremy Holt?
Elizabeth Bales. Her name is spelled like Beals, Beals, but it's pronounced Bales.
Okay. I that name rang a bell. I couldn't remember who it was. It's like Southern Dog. He's the one that did Southern Dog.
Yeah. Jeremy Holt
Action
from
Lab,
Southern Dog.
which
Yes.
that was a great book.
So yeah, I really, like I said, every project I do, we put a lot of love behind it, a lot of love behind it. And so it's me, Gentleman Wright, Kelly Guillory, we are the Ignition crew. And so we put a lot of spirit behind this miniseries, and we just want people to get behind it. We want people to support it. Don't really feel that 4,000 is asking for a lot. It's helping to cover production costs and printing costs and rewards and shipping costs to send out rewards. And, I really feel that we can hit that goal. And if we get to our stretch goals, If we get to $5,000, there's additional rewards for print backers, and then some of that money also goes towards the creative team, so their page rate goes up.
Mm-hmm.
So it helps them out too. They can put extra gas in their cars. They can get some extra groceries. It's about helping others and also letting people know that like they got value and they have worth. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
So no, Ignition is my baby. Jamel Reed is one hell of a character, and it's not every day you really get to see like women like really being able to like just take charge of a situation, and like also drive fast cars. And like I said, I love projects with fast cars. So whether it be the Transporter, Fast and Furious, Initial D, Red Line. There's an anime called Red Line. It was a fantastic movie out years ago. Like that was dope too. Like I love the concept of speed, and but then when you add like real life drama and then some sci-fi elements and some other stuff into it, it just it turns everything on its ear. So I hope people support this project.
I just did because I was still logged into Kickstarter. I was like, if I'm still logged in, I'm just going to do it while we're on the show. So,
there you go. That works. Let's see. I'll refresh it though. See what the numbers change to. We'll know how much Chris put in.
Oh boy.
Oh.
All right, now that's a little much.
I know how much Chris added.
well, that's what I added for now. I might change my mind before the project.
All right,
runs its course.
listen here, big brother.
Hey, all I'm saying is he didn't buy the lowest end package.
Well, yeah.
Well, thank you, Chris. I appreciate it.
Oh, no,
Chris has a big package.
I didn't bring it up for that. It was more just to say that, hey, we bring folks on, they come talk about projects, and 9 times out of 10, one or all of us is like, oh my God, I have to get this. So this is just live feedback on the air that this is another instance of we look at it, we hear the creator talk about it, in this case, Shawn, and go, oh, what the hell was I thinking? Just buy back. What am I thinking? Just back it.
And so, and like right now, like, I'm currently on the grind because I ran 2 other Kickstarters this year.
Yeah, you've been busy.
One for Ignition issue 1, and then for The Fire Within. And so I'm in the process of fulfilling rewards for Ignition issue 1 right now. As a matter of fact, Anthony, you should hopefully be seeing your package in a few days.
I just checked it. It is in Des Moines right now.
Well, there you go. Because I gotta give y'all tracking numbers because I can't have folks mad at me. So, so like I'm fulfilling rewards on Ignition issue 1. We're getting production stuff done for The Fire Within. And I'm running this Kickstarter here while also doing freelance work at the same time, and and other things. So I love doing this. I love creating. And like I said, it puts money in people's pockets. It lets people get excited about projects that they don't normally see. From regular publishers. And yeah, man, I have a good time doing this. As long as I keep my stress levels down and my hypertension and blood pressure down, I'm good.
They make medicine for that. I'm on it.
I call the Hall & Notes helpline, sometimes, they play some one-on-one.
Only in emergency uses only.
I know.
The best medicine for it is hitting that fulfillment on Kickstarter.
Yes.
Everybody's got their books. That one's done.
Yeah.
Take a breath.
Start the next one.
Yep, exactly. So
to be honest, Shawn is on a very short list of names where if I don't have my book from the previous project, I don't have a problem back in the next one. Yeah. I have run into some writers and artists out there on Kickstarter now to where I am backing your next project until you give me the last project.
Right. And see, and trust me, that makes sense because like, here's the thing, man, like y'all spending y'all's money. Okay, like y'all spending y'all's money, y'all spending y'all's time, and look, we all know like these last 4 years ain't been the best for a lot of us, fiscally, mentally, emotionally, physically, all of it. Okay, so like when you put your dollar in, I got to make sure I come through. Period. This is the first time I've ever run 3 Kickstarters in 1 year, ever. Like I've never done that because at first I was like, man, I ain't doing that, and then the back of my mind was like, well, why can't you? I'm like, well, okay. All right. As long as people understand, everybody's going to get their stuff. I keep in touch with everybody, let them know what's going on. And if I do that, it's about trust. It's about trust. And then and being able to continue that trust, continue that bond, and also letting people know that I care, like you put your money into this. I care, I can't have people pissed off at me. You know what I mean? Because if I do, it's over. It's done.
Yeah.
It's done. And guess what? It's not over for me yet.
Yeah, I think we talked about on this show last time you were on, which is the internet has a long-term memory. If they feel slighted, they're not going to forget.
Oh yeah, they have the receipts.
Yeah,
they have the receipts.
I've backed almost 250 projects, I think, now at Kickstarter. There are people on there that have gotten $60,000, $70,000 to put out a book. And there are people in that list that I would not invite on the show because they still owe me a book from 4, 5, 6, 7 years ago.
Yeah.
I ain't going to mention their name. Fuck them. they get no play. None at all.
No, you got to take care of people. And here's also the other thing, too. If you screw up, just tell people you screwed up.
Yeah.
Just be honest. Like, just be honest. Just be honest.
I have a project I back where a dude had a death in his family. I'm basically like Will Spatasio with Wetwork when they started Image. He was the one guy that didn't come out of the book. His sister died. He took like 3 years off, and then he came back, and his book was amazing. I have a Kickstarter dude, was putting on a book. It looks awesome, the stuff he was doing. Had like a major event, death in his family, shit went down, and he's taken like 2 years off. I don't care. Like, he was honest about it. He's like, hey, this is what's happening. I can't do this right now. I'll be back. Cool. I'm not mad about the money I gave that dude. And, you know, honestly, I may not get a book out of that one. But he was honest about it. He didn't, like, you know, spend all his time sending lies to people, acting like nothing's happened. He was honest.
Yeah, just keep it 100. That's all you got to do. Like, that's all you got to do. Just keep it 100. But, yo, let's sidebar for a second because I promised y'all, from like last time I was here, I promised y'all more Toys R Us stories. All right, I promised y'all that.
And for those that don't remember, we got some doozies last time.
All right, let me get my my listening pose.
Oh, he's getting ready. He's getting ready for story time with Shawn.
Get comfortable, Willie. Okay, so for those that like didn't see me last time I was on the show, I used to be an employee at Toys R Us like back in the 90s. Okay, it was a very interesting 8 months of employment. Because I came in around the time Power Ranger toys first premiered, as well as the influx of the Spider-Man Toy Biz toys, the introduction of G.I. Joe Extreme, the Tick toys. Like, basically, it was like the implosion, or the explosion, not implosion, but the explosion of like toys, video games, everything. You know, Donkey Kong Country was coming out. Like, this was the era, this was the time.
This is the golden days of Toys R Us, when I remember going and almost always wanting to get something when I left.
Exactly. So also, this was also the introduction of the original Spawn action figures as well from McFarlane, from McFarlane Toys, the very first original run.
And
so
Toys took a giant leap forward.
Yes. And so it was my first, it was like this story, it was like my second day on the job. And so we had like this team leader, because you have your managers and then you have your team leaders, because you have different departments on the floor, you know. So like you got your security booth. Okay, you got your security booth that had all the video games. Okay, but then also you had the area behind the security booth, which had all the bikes, which had all, you know, the 10 speeds, the BMX bikes, also like the big old little Tykes wave climber pirate ships that you had to put together, like all that stuff. Okay,
nostalgia tripping.
Yes, and then you had the wall of diaper section, and then your toy section and your video game section. So for like all those different areas, you had a team leader. Okay. So in the beginning, I'm new, and we had a bunch of other new employees, and so they designated one of the team leaders to take us to the annex, and we was like, annex? Yo, I thought we was just gonna stock some shelves and help some people today. And they're like, no, you gotta go up to the annex because we gotta clean up the annex. And I'm like, what's the annex? And they're like, come with us. So it's like me and like 4 or 5 other dudes. And the team leader. And the team leader didn't want to do jack shit. Let's just be completely honest. He didn't want to work. He didn't want to do nothing, okay? So we go up to the annex. First off, the annex, literally, when you get into it, it's kind of like an attic. I'm like, okay, this is fine. But then the attic itself, the annex, is about 5 feet. You got about 5 feet, okay? And at that time, I was 6 foot, okay? So now everybody is kind of bent over in the annex, trying to like walk around and like move boxes and, you know, and position stuff and move stuff. And like, it's hot up there too. There's no air circulation going through the annex. Now the rest of Toys R Us is nice and crisp and cool because it's a hot summer day. Everybody out on the sales floor getting what they need. The air conditioner blowing up in the annex. Annex is hot as hell. And once again, it's only 5 feet in height. Okay, so like everybody bent over like trying to move boxes and stuff. Ain't no short dudes up here. You know, we got on our red Toys R Us schmucks. You know, we got like our little cutting knives to cut open boxes and move and position stuff. Now, not to mention the fact that, oh yeah, by the way, did you know that there are big old nails protruding from the ceiling?
Ooh.
In the annex? Okay. So the team leader is like, as a joke, it's like, okay, all y'all wear these bike helmets so you don't get stabbed. in the head, when you up in here working in this annex. And the team leader had the nerve after that to give us these bike helmets, pulled up a chair, went over to the corner, sat down, kicked his legs up, was like, go ahead and work.
Ooh.
And I was like,
one word to him. OSHA.
Oh boy. Like we was salty as hell. We got so mad. And then like cats, like then the team leader like left. And so like folks us up in the annex got mad. Dudes started taking their bike helmets and just like shoving them up in the nails and getting them stuck up there. And then like a dude found a sled. Took the sled and just like rode it down the steps. So needless to say, we all got in trouble for that. But but then they took us out of the annex and they was just like, well, maybe this isn't really a safe place for y'all to work. So then they took us out of that. Yeah, yo, retail, Willie, retail is crazy, yo. We're wild. Retail is wild. Let me retail is wild.
Well, and especially back in the 80s, they get away with some shit.
So then, but there's this other story though. Okay, so one time, and I mean, I don't know if I told y'all this last time or not, and if I did, please just say you said this one already. When I worked in the security booth during the holidays, there was a period of time where when you wanted a video game, you would go out to the video game section. You have like the wall. The wall would have all these games, okay? And you could like look at the cover and then flip this thing up, flip this like little tab up, and you could see the back of the box, what the game was about, blah, 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 blah. And then there was a packet with a ticket. You would take that ticket up to the counter, pay for your game, and you would be in like, say for instance, I would be in the security booth, right? And there would be a box, like kind of like a ticket, like a receipt, like like a receipt thing. And they would and a piece of paper would pop up and say, somebody's coming. They want their copy of Michael Jordan, Chaos in the Windy City. I ain't forgot about that game. It's a real thing. EA made it. It was an action-adventure game with Michael Jordan. He threw fire basketballs and ice basketballs. It was real. It was dope, and I loved it.
I kind of want to play it now.
Look on Willie's face. But anyway.
Was it better than Shaq Fu?
Nothing is better than Shaq Fu. Ultimate Fighting Basketball.
All right. Your judgment. I don't know if I can trust.
He's like, I'm out.
Because I played that game and I couldn't beat I think I beat the first person. Maybe not the second. Definitely not the second person. That's cheap.
So there was a period of time in the holidays, our managers would be jerks, and what they would do is they would purposely print extra tickets. They would purposely print extra tickets to put in the video game wall. So, like, because they figured, well, they'll buy it, but like, let's say, well, maybe they'll forget to come to the security booth to get the game, or maybe they'll buy it and then they'll be like, well, maybe like they'll come back to us, we'll say we don't have it, but then they might exchange it for something else, and maybe we could, get them to buy something even more expensive, so we end up getting more money at the end. And I'm like, and we kept telling them, like, listen, quit putting extra tickets in with these games, because we gave them inventory every single day. Mm-hmm. And when we would run out of a game, like it'd be like one or two of us in the security booth. When we run out of a game, one of us would tell the other, hey, go pull Donkey Kong Country tickets. There are no more. Pull them all right now. We run out there, pull the tickets, and we put them back with us. And then a manager would be up in his booth, and like he would go walk around and be like, oh, look, Donkey Kong Country tickets are empty. I'll go print 30 more. We're like, what are you doing? They're gone. They're sold out. Oh, no, that's okay. No, it's not okay, because you're not getting fussed at. We are. We're taking the brunt of that, okay? So we got to the point where it's like, okay, y'all want to keep playing these games. Okay, we can play these games. Okay, all right, cool. You want to play games? Let's play games. So they kept overprinting tickets. So like Donkey Kong Country pops up. And like I look at my other homie in the security booth. I'm like, yo, so this is what we're gonna do. I said, we're gonna tell them we don't have Donkey Kong Country, but if they are willing to not return the game, we will give them what they want. We will barter. Straight up. We will barter. Because we're not getting fussed at anymore. Because like we got like, man, there's like a 2-day, like a 48-hour period. We was just getting cussed out left and right. Managers got no heat. Customers came for us. Like customers like brought that X-Pac heat. Like they was mad at us.
The worst kind of heat.
Like it Watch was out like for that Bronco Buster.
Yo, no, they came at us like X-Pac X Factor heat. You remember that click? They
Yeah.
was just getting booed constantly. They like we was getting that kind of heat. Okay, so like lady came up. She had Donkey Kong Country ticket, and I was like, ma'am, I am sorry to tell you, we do not have any more copies of Donkey Kong Country. And she was like, what? Why is that? Why? But I pulled this down. I was like, ma'am, this is not your fault. We have told management on a number of occasions. And once again, I'm using my calm, like black dude voice right now. And I'm just like, ma'am, on these occasions, because sometimes when you talk to white women, you use the wrong tone, like they get mad. But so I was just like, I just want to let you know that even though we do not have it, that line for returns is very long. I know you don't want to deal with that today. So this is what I'm willing to do. That copy of Donkey Kong Country costs you $59.99. Are there any other games that you know of that your child or significant other or relative may like? And I will just give you those in exchange on the promise that you don't return them. And she was like, really? I was like, yes. She was like, oh, okay. If that's the case, then give me this and this one over here. Because she could see through the window and she saw the price tags. I was like, well, that's $60. Boop, boop. There you go. Have a nice day.
Nice.
And like literally, we just had to start bartering. And some folks was cool with it. Other ones was like, no, that's okay. I'll just go return my go return my receipt. I was like, that's fine. Just don't tattle. They was like, oh, I ain't gonna tell nobody. So I was like, cool. So we literally that's how we got rid of copies of Shaq Fu. That's how we got rid of copies of like the Socks the Cat video game.
Oh,
That's how
Jesus.
we got rid of copies, like I said, of Michael Jordan Chaos in the Windy City. That's how we unloaded on tons of 32X games. Because remember the Sega 32X. That's how we just we burned through stock. And so, but no management said anything or anything. And then they finally realized, probably 3 days before Christmas, management comes to us. They're like, maybe we shouldn't be overprinting those tickets. So you guys don't overprint those tickets, okay? And I'm like, we ain't the ones printing them. I'm like, you got the computer to print them, fool. Why you coming to us? Why you coming to us for? I'm like, y'all don't want to take responsibility for nothing. I'm going to Penn Station. I'll be back in 2 hours. I'm gonna take an extended lunch break. Give me a big old sandwich. Y'all go to hell. Anyway, so then after Christmas happens, so now this is return season.
Also
this is when
chaotic.
oh yes,
Worst time
also
to
very
retail.
extremely chaotic. Yes, and this is also a period of time where they lay people off, and and so now you're doing the work of 2 or 3 people. Well, anyway. So some returns come in and video game returns come in. And when video game returns come in, this is what they would tell us. Okay, if the box is clean and the cartridge is okay, test the cartridge. If the cartridge is good and it's okay, put everything back, shrink wrap it, back in the security booth. Okay, that's fine. Whatever. As long as I see no dirt, no smudges, we good. So we get a copy back. I forget which Super Nintendo game it was. And I can't remember for the life of me. Anyway, so, it's a return. So I'm like, okay, cool. Because somebody returned it. Shrunk wrap. It was shrunk wrap. It was never open. Had the receipt. They returned it. So we get it. And I look at the package. I'm just like, yo, that's not our shrink wrap.
Oh, no.
I'm like, that's not our shrink wrap. I was like, it's not. So I took my little X-Acto knife, went shh, pulled off the wrapper, opened up that box. There was not a Super Nintendo game in that joint. It was a cassette tape.
Oh, what was the cassette tape of?
It was Richard Marx.
They got $50 for a Richard Marx cassette tape.
Richard Marx tape. So I literally just went up to the return counter and I was just like, hey. And I threw the box and the Richard Marx tape on the counter. I was like, yo, y'all gonna have to start opening up these packages, because I was just like, y'all returning Richard Marx tapes. And so I was like, no, this ain't gonna cut it, y'all. So needless to say, I want to say it was around March or April, I left. But those 8 months I worked there, and like I said, once again, it's only a fraction of the stories that I have during my time there. And it was just absolutely positively wild.
I wish my times in retail had nearly as many entertaining stories. I mean, I came close to dying a couple times. But other than that, it's pretty tame.
Oh no, dying at retail like that's pretty bad.
Uh,
The only job I ever got close to dying on was working drywall and insulation.
Well, see, the problem is if you work in a Walmart, like I did in college, one semester off, or not, or one summer off rather, they like to store the extra bicycles on hooks on the ceiling of the garden center. And how do you get up there? You have to climb the giant rickety ladders, and all the hooks are right over top of the shelving. So you have to like hang off of the ladder to try and hook the back tire of the bicycle onto the hook on the ceiling. Oh yeah, it's an OSHA nightmare. I don't know how we were allowed
that
to do
don't
it.
sound like it's OSHA approved.
And I kid you not, the higher up you go on those ladders, it's the ones that's got like steps that you walk up. So it almost looks like a staircase. It just starts wobbling more and more. So you're up at the top of this ladder, stretched out as far as you can with a friggin' mountain bike in one arm, trying to just swing your arm and hook it over a hook in the ceiling, and it just doesn't work.
Yikes.
It just does not work.
So one of mine is I used to work at a grocery store, and this started a pet peeve of mine where I hate people that do this. I literally hate them. None of you motherfuckers better be doing this. This is to the listeners too. None of you motherfuckers. People,
This is we find out something I used to do all the time.
people who park in the no parking, like right in front of the store.
Oh, it's terrible.
I
Oh,
hate
hell no.
that.
It's terrible.
Because
Yeah.
and it started one time. I was a bagger. I had to go in and get in carts for the grocery store. As soon as you go out the doors to the side and you turn left to go out to the parking lot, there's a brick wall there. There's a brick corner. You can't see where around it. This motherfucker was speeding down that fire lane, and I almost got hit by him. If I was 1 or 2 seconds faster, I'd be hit. I'd be clipped. And that started the whole thing where just go park in a parking spot and walk. If I can do it when gout's affecting me, and I do that anyway, you can too. I don't care. If you need a wheelchair, get a wheelchair. I don't care. But don't park there. That just shows me that you hate firemen. You hate them.
Yep.
And you also want to run me over. So fuck those people. I yell at everyone. Maybe my friends will be like, no, we ain't parking here. No, you can get out and walk. I don't care. I don't care if you're running for one item. I ain't parking here.
Yeah, no, you don't park in a fire lane. You don't park in a handicapped spot if you're handicapped.
Exactly.
Fuck those people.
Yeah,
I mean,
there's all
I
sorts
should
of
have a plaque
horror
for that.
stories from retail, I'm sure. We've all got
Oh, yeah.
some of our own.
Yeah, I'm telling you, there's nothing like breaking up a fight between parents by raging sets of parents fighting over like the last Dragon Zord.
I mean,
I'd fight over it.
Like seriously, like it was wild. Like people that's the whole thing. Like people forget like how wild, like when Power Rangers first came out, those toys first came out, how like that was like a holiday, like that was a major holiday get. And so like folks would just be waiting outside of our where we get our shipments and be like, Power Ranger toys show up, and like one of us would have to be the one to say yes or no and tell the rest of the people. And I'm just like, it'd be like me and 4 of the white dudes. I'm like, look, it's one of me, it's 4 of y'all. I was like, y'all need to go. I was like, I'm not going to be like that dies today. And I'm sorry, it's not happening today. So, and like there would be other times where we did have the stuff, but we couldn't tell them because we wanted to be able to put it out on the shelves.
Right.
And so like the only time we would be able to do that is once the store closes, because this was when Toys R Us, like during the holiday season, would stay open till midnight. And then from 12:05 a.m. to 7 a.m., restock the floors. Got everybody out. Let's restock the floors. And so, like, 'cause like that was really the best way to do it, instead of just taking a box out in the middle of the day, putting the box in the aisle, cutting it open, and then just letting parents attack. Because it was just, I'm like, no, we're not dealing with that stress. Y'all don't pay us enough for that.
Right.
So let's just let's simplify that. Now, if you want to throw copies of Shaq Fu at people, that's fine, because we had about 400 copies. We had, seriously, like to this day, I'm telling you, like even like that Toys R Us I used to work at, I'm sure in the annex somewhere up there are boxes of Electronic Arts Shaq Fu. I'm not lying. They over-ordered on Shaq Fu, and I'm just like, listen, I'm a big Shaq fan. Even I know better than over-order on Shaq Fu.
They printed a lot of copies of that game.
Yes. Shaq Fu is like the ET of the Atari ET of like overprinted games, you know. And I said
that half smile that's on the cover haunts me to this day.
Shaq knew what he was doing. He knew what he was doing. He had the smirk on.
Oh, he didn't make the game. He was just
but
you
he
put
knew
my
he was
name on it.
getting
All
paid
right.
when they put his face on it, and there's a half smile like, yeah, I got your money.
yeah.
I can fight people. Okay.
Yo, I ain't gonna lie though. I got Shaq Fu the Return like on PS4 for like $1.99.
Oh.
That game is fun as hell.
All right,
That game's
$1.99.
fun as
I
hell.
can argue that. Hey, at least we got real life Shaq Fu when Uncle Drew came out.
Yes. Yo, Uncle
love
Drew
that
was ridiculous.
I got the steel case of that movie over there.
I got to see that at some point.
Uncle
it's
Drew
good.
was ridiculous. It's ridiculous because basically Kyrie Irving essentially plays old man Confucius Kyrie Irving.
He does. Nice.
Who plays the preacher? I don't know I don't watch basketball, so I don't know any of the names except for Shaquille O'Neal. Kyle Irving kind of was hit and miss with me, but who is the preacher guy?
The preacher, I want to say that may have been. I think the preacher may have been an actual comedian and not a basketball player. I'm trying
Really? Because I remember him like he was like when they first meet him, he was like doing a baptism. He was like doing behind the back with the baby.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Okay. That may have been a ball player. Oh, see, now I got to go back and watch it.
I don't watch basketball, so I don't know any of the names.
Yeah, Uncle Drew is ridiculous, and the thing is that I wish we had because like Uncle Drew would have been something that had been like a big hit in the '80s, and it probably would have been like a decent hit in the '90s. But it's also the same type of movie like nowadays where like the business is like, well, we don't do stuff like that anymore. And I'm like, why not? I'm like, it's ridiculous. Sometimes you just need ridiculous stuff. Mm-hmm. You know, like not everything can be a $200 million blockbuster. It's like you need the return of the $15 and $20 million movie. You know, like it's like Uncle Drew didn't cost a bunch of money to make. It's like 15, 20 million bucks. And you know, so you need those movies in the movie theaters as well. It can't always be all or nothing at the box office. But then again, we probably ain't gonna have no movie theaters for a good period of time because of that Rona. So
the preacher was Chris Webber.
Oh, okay. Good looking out. Good looking out.
Is that a basketball player? I don't know.
Yeah, he's a basketball player. Sailor Pole in the chat room said that Uncle Drew is one of those anything for a laugh movies, and that he loved it. So yeah.
All right. And Bachman, you need to watch it too because Nick Kroll is fucking crazy, and I know how much you like Nick Kroll.
I do love me some Nick Kroll.
Nick Kroll is
estimated
hilarious.
budget $19 million, and it made $15 million on its opening weekend. Grossed $42 in the U.S.
I was there on opening weekend.
Yeah,
I was like, this movie seems interesting. I want to see this.
That was back in the
it's one
days
of the
of
things
movie
that
passes.
Yeah, it's one of the things that Kevin Smith and Mark Bernard talk about a lot. Like they don't have that $5 to $20-$30 million movie range anymore. Studios don't cover that shit. No. And so that's where you have people like trying to independently finance their own films. Because like you can either make like a $5,000 movie on your iPhone, or the studio wants to throw $50 million at it. There's nothing in between.
Well, we've also
we really need genre wise. We really need 80s boob comedies to come back.
I was just going to say, in general, we just need comedies to come back. Because when's the last time you've seen like good comedies in the theaters lately? I mean, the comedy genre seems to have kind of moved out.
I never go to the theater for comedies.
I'm sorry, Chris.
I went too
into a subgenre of 80s boob comedies for you, Chris.
That's just because you want to send. That's because you just want to send us another refaced picture after the show. I'm sure.
Oh yeah, that's coming into what I'm into.
Yeah,
I'm into me.
Willie found the reface app. We'll talk about it later on in the show.
Well, we talked about last week.
It's terrifying. Yeah, but we didn't talk about how you were terrifying us.
I turned notifications off on that thing for a while. I'm sick of it. It's gross.
You'll see Willie with tits again.
No.
We'll get into that later.
Willie's trying to ruin things for me again.
Reality. He's trying to ruin reality. Is what he's trying to ruin
reality.
He's trying to ruin boobs. That's what he's trying to ruin.
Well, Shawn, we do appreciate the Toys R Us stories and the tangents we got off on. They are quite entertaining.
You're welcome. Ain't no thing. I got you. Oh
man. I don't even know how to pivot out of it. Before we move on to the next news, or before we move into the news, I guess here's the question. We'll do what we've been doing our weekly updates on. Willie, how's your PS4 or PS5 quest going? Have you made any progress?
Is this a thing? I don't have a quest. I'm not even.
I made it a thing.
I made it a thing.
All right, fine. Right now, I've given up. I don't even think I'm not even gonna try on day one. It's done because I have cash and I can't order online with cash. So we're done here. We're done. I can't just walk into a store in a brick and mortar when they have stock that is unsold in the back and I can't buy it. Well, all right then. Fuck off then.
It's 'cause
Fuck
of the
this new
Rona.
world order.
It's the
Fuck you,
Rona, man.
NWO. You fucking Hollywood Hogan motherfuckers. Sorry for the cursing.
So I guess it's bad time for me to tell you I got my shipping and FedEx tracking number for my Xbox yesterday.
Oh, here comes Kevin Nash and Scott Hall. Whoop-de-doo.
At least I'm not X-Pac.
That's true.
Was he still X-Pac? Or did he even go to
He became
WCW?
six-pack at one point in time.
Oh my god. Oh, did he even have a six-pack?
Well, they were on enough cocaine back then. They might have cocaine and speed and stuff. Those guys were they were on some weird
back
crap.
then. They are probably still.
Well,
And I mean,
Scott
Kurt-
Hall's clean-ish right now, I think.
Oh,
Yeah.
well, yeah. I mean, I'm talking about the current roster.
Oh no, they're drug tested.
Oh, really? McMahon, what the
Wellness
hell is
policy.
this? You went from steroids to no.
You can Chris Benoit. We'll just leave it at that. As part of what brought that on.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
The Benoit tragedy.
I just want to hear Will Smith have a movie with that and just say, tell the truth.
Hey, but side note, it's going to be real interesting, and we'll delve politics very briefly for me to say this, to see what happens to WWE wrestlers in their independent contractor status here in about, 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
gonna be real interesting.
Yeah,
That's gonna be very
Andrew
interesting.
Yang's coming for him.
Yep. And if
We
Vince
will
don't
see.
make them full-time employees, he's a piece of shit.
Well, since you guys are talking about wrestling, I did watch a little mini documentary. It was like a little 20-minute video. They were talking about Crash Holly. I love that guy. He's awesome.
Oh,
The
that's
Hollies were fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Fuck Crash Holly, the world's only super heavyweight champion. Bring it down that. He brought down the scale. I loved it. The whole gimmick was excellent.
Oh man.
The
Crash
attitude behind it.
Crash Holly.
Crash Hall. That's a name I hadn't heard in a while.
I'm trying. There was
Ladder,
Crash,
that-
Holly, Molly Holly, and who was the third one?
I stopped watching
Hardcore
before
Holly.
Molly
Hardcore Holly,
Yeah,
yeah.
Hardcore
Hardcore
Holly
Holly.
and Crash Holly.
And then
is the only two
Molly
I remember.
Holly became Mighty Molly and was paired with the Hurricane.
Hurricane.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
I do
The
remember that movie.
superhero.
Look out! There's a hurricane coming through. I
Who
remember that.
Hey,
this will
I love the Hurricane. I love the Hurricane.
this will get
That
us
was-
into what I'm into at the end of the show. But the Hurricane
you
may
go.
have showed up on an AEW pay-per-view last night
As a hurricane.
as the Hurricane
All right.
and as Gregory Helms, newspaper reporter.
Reporter. Wild manner
All right,
reporter,
we're
Gregory
done.
Helms.
I can't
Yeah.
take this. It's too much. As much as I love it, it's too much.
We'll get to it at the end of the show when we get to what I'm into. On that note, we'll transition. Let's get into some news or whatnot.
Live from the ATGN studios on the internet, it's the news of the week.
Welcome to the news of the week. It's that part of the show where we run down what's in our minds some of the most interesting geeky and or nerdy news to have popped up here in the last week and share with you guys who are watching live or listening at a later date. I will kick things off because yesterday was November 7th. For those of you that are Mass Effect fans, November 7th is often an important day. It is N7 Day. There's generally announcements of some kind that come out about the Mass Effect franchise or some kind of retrospective that goes up on Reddit, stuff like that, where we can all reminisce about a franchise that we all really loved before they kind of screwed it up with Mass Effect Andromeda. But yesterday for N7 Day, we got some news that had been kind of leaked, but then some news that hadn't. So what came out yesterday? Well, Casey Hudson, who is the general manager at BioWare, revealed on a post on the BioWare blog, "We really struggled to keep this one a surprise, but it's official today. We announced Mass Effect Legendary Edition." So they are re-releasing all 3 games in one collection with all of the DLC, all up-converted, up-resed, graphical enhancements for 4K, coming to PC, Xbox One, PlayStation 4, with targeted enhancements for the series line of Xboxes and the PlayStation 5. So $60 sometime in spring 2021, the entire trilogy that really matters in Mass Effect. Who cares about Mass Effect Andromeda because it wasn't as good? But I'm excited. I've played these games multiple times, and I know I'm going to lose hundreds of hours of my life again playing the Mass Effect Legendary Edition. And I'm curious to see what they've done to Mass Effect 1 to make it a bit more friendly to play. Because it wasn't the most friendly of games to play. Willie, you're
So I
giving
guess
me
now
all...
would be the time for me to finally buy that and play them. Because I've never played the Mass Effects.
Or you just wait until the Legendary Edition comes out in the spring.
Mhm.
Then you don't have to buy any DLC.
Go ahead and ask your question, Chris.
Willie, you keep rolling your
Yes.
eyes and giving me side eyes and whatnot. What's the problem here?
They can't be bothered to include Andromeda. They just no, we don't care about that. Like, really?
It just
you can't
came out.
include that one?
It doesn't have anything to do with Shepard's story.
It's not Mass Effect the Shepard's Collection. It's called Mass Effect Collection.
It's Mass
Jesus
Effect
Christ,
Legendary Edition. That game is not legendary.
I don't care. It's still part of the whole collection. It's as stupid as coming up with the Arkham series and not including Arkham Origins. I know it's made by a different company,
Yeah, that's
but
why
it's
they
still
didn't
in the
include it.
world.
But is it? Did they actually confirm they're in the same world, or did we all just assume that?
What do you? It's called Arkham Origins.
So it doesn't
Are
mean
you
they're in the
kidding
same
me?
world. Different
All right,
voice
Chris.
actors.
All right, Chris.
What?
Get off your platform.
I'm not off my platform.
He don't like your soapbox.
Willie, you're shitty about the fact that they don't include what is arguably the worst game in the series that they canceled all the DLC for.
It's
to
still
write
a part
book.
of it. They should fix it and then release
They
it
already
with it.
fixed it. They say
They
I haven't
fixed
played it.
as bad.
I beat the game and haven't replayed it. And for me, with a Mass Effect game, that's saying something.
Okay, time out for a second, because you're talking to someone like I said, you know me, I'm always behind on video games. Always.
Yes.
I normally don't buy a video game unless it's like old, because it takes me that long to get back to
That's
actually
fair.
playing it. Why buy something new? Because like if I buy it, I'm not gonna be able to play it for 4 years. I've never played a Mass Effect game before. Never have.
And they are
Never,
old
never,
now.
never.
The first one was 2007 at this point.
Okay, see, so that would be okay. So I could go get that one and be okay.
Yeah.
I'd probably get like $2 now.
Same with
Okay,
2 and
so-
3. They're probably about the same price.
So just out of curiosity, why is there hate for Andromeda? I'm just curious.
So-
like where?
Faces.
well, that was part of it.
There's a number of reasons.
That
Okay.
was the first
It
reason I
didn't
think when
have-
it first came out was the faces.
They did not do it. What was so great about the Mass Effect games when they came out and what they built upon is it was really story heavy, and you built up this crew, you built up all these characters that you come to enjoy their presence, things like that. And the lore that's all built up around Mass Effect is great. The premise of Mass Effect Andromeda is after Mass Effect 3 has ended, something has happened that's going to reshape the galaxy. I don't want to say anything because it'll spoil it. Well, Mass Effect Andromeda starts somewhere between Mass Effect 2 and 3, where humanity goes in an arc and is frozen for thousands of years to travel to another galaxy. So they just kind of kept the tech and stuff, but they didn't keep the world they had built and things like that. And the story kind of was weak in comparison. They did some real cool stuff with combat and gameplay, I thought, that would have been really neat going forward. It's just the story wasn't there like you want on a BioWare game. Like you go back and look at the Mass Effect trilogy, the Dragon Age games and things like that. It's really well known for a really interesting, compelling story. And Mass Effect Andromeda just didn't have that. And it was a spin-off that they tried to spin originally as the ongoing tale of the Mass Effect series, but it really wasn't, because it's thousands of years in the future where nothing that you did in the original trilogy has any impact on what is happening.
Okay, gotcha. Okay, cool. I was just always curious because like the thing is like I would see like on social media like like just a lot of disdain for Andromeda, and I never really understood why, because like I said, I never played any of the games before. And so I was always just kind of curious about that, because like I never ever heard anything bad about Mass Effect until Andromeda.
Yeah, it's very much a spin-off. And if you can put your mindset in the fact that it's a spin-off and kind of ignores a lot of what has happened. I think there's one casual reference to Commander Shepard at one point in time, and that's about it. And put yourself in that mindset of everything you knew, all of those characters that you loved, they're basically dead because it's thousands of years in the future, regardless of the actions that you would have taken. And now you're in a brand new world that's still playing with elements of those characters and kind of does some callbacks to it. So it's not a bad game necessarily. It's just, I think they were overly ambitious. And then because they had problems at launch, they sunk a bunch of money into fixing the gameplay and things like that, and then canceled all of the DLC and all of the sequels and stuff. So a lot of people like myself who love the original trilogy, who loved the story and the lore that was built up on it, we started playing this and saw the potential going forward. And EA kind of went, yeah, we're pulling the plug on all this. And that DLC we talked about that's coming, yeah, that's going to be a book that we'll release at some point in time that I don't even know if it's come out. So they just kind of abandoned it. And at this point in time, it's just kind of like that tree limb that's hanging out there with no fruit on it or something like that. You're just like, oh, we should probably cut that down.
Interesting.
And it's also EA's involved. So
I'm a little surprised you said you never heard anything bad about Mass Effect until Andromeda, because didn't 3, people were upset about the ending, weren't they? The original ending?
there was... Yes, but I think that got overblown. I was one of those that was underwhelmed by the original ending, I will say, but I was not one of those fans that went on the internet and went, oh my God, this is the worst thing ever. And I think once they put out their extended cut that then cleaned up that ending and made it so that your choices actually had consequence, I think it was a better game. And
I will appreciate the fact they included that as a free DLC update.
Yes, and that's all stuff that would be included in this Legendary Edition. Is literally every drop of DLC that came out for Mass Effect 1 through 3 is on there. And hopefully they bring back the multiplayer for Mass Effect 3, because it was actually fun and had impact in the single player story, which was kind of cool.
What remaster do you know that brings back the multiplayer?
Well, they made it part of the story in there, so I think it's possible. And you know they want to sell loot boxes, so if they can jam loot boxes in it again, they'll probably do it. It's EA.
Are you actually saying yes, you want that?
I don't care about the loot boxes, but I want the multiplayer because it's really fun. It's a cooperative multiplayer experience. You're not fighting each other. You're fighting off a horde mode kind of game. I like that. That's fun to me. The kind of online games I like is not me versus you. It's me and you versus another team of people and stuff like that. That's what I really like. But that was the news that had leaked out a lot. We knew that was coming, but they also announced that they're actively working on, quote, the next chapter of the Mass Effect universe, end quote, under an unnamed veteran team inside the company that is supposedly slated for arrival sometime after Dragon Age 4. So we'll see if it ends up happening. I'm cautious about it because, like we talked about, Mass Effect Andromeda was disappointing, but I think that BioWare's kind of come to some realization that BioWare magic of trying to cram everything in crunch doesn't really work, because Mass Effect Andromeda, not very successful. Anthem, not very successful. Supposedly they're still working on a 2.0 version of Anthem. But
they are.
There was a blog post that came out about it, but that's about all I heard. Willie, it's an update to the original game to make it better.
Yeah, I know, but
well, no, that's not confirmed
yet
either.
Point?
We don't know if it's going to be an update or if they're going to try to sell us another game that has not been confirmed one way or the other. Supposedly they've added an entire faction. They've been showing an updated UI, a completely different way of actually leveling up your javelins. The pilot skill tree that they originally said would be in the start of the game, they've shown versions of what that would actually look like now. So yeah, basically everything that they said Anthem 1 would be, they're actually trying to say that they're going to put it in Anthem 2. But at no point have they said if it will be an upgrade to Anthem or if it's a second game that they're going to try to sell.
If it's a second game, I'm out. I'll be honest.
Yeah, they're not getting any more money from me.
I mean, I only paid $10 for the game. It was probably $6, I think, on a GameStop special, and I got $6 for sure worth the fun out of the campaign in it. That was fun. It's just the post game. You're like, I don't know what I'm going to do.
I spent way more than $6 on it, and I did not get my money's worth.
And Sailor Poland points out previously, you're assuming EA allows BioWare to do whatever they want. That's a fair point. EA was also the one. There's a whole bunch of deep dives as to Andromeda's failures and issues they had. Part of which was EA wanted to cut costs. They said, here, use the Frostbite engine we use in our FPS games and other things to use in this game. And they're like, but it doesn't work.
Which is also the problem with Anthem, because they made them use it for that too.
Yeah, they tried to use the same engine for everything, and those engines were never really designed to do open world RPG kind of games or anything like that. So they ran into a lot of trouble, and honestly, without going too deep down the rabbit hole, part of that trouble is the fact that they're owned by Electronic Arts now, I think.
And remember back in the day when, like, you said the word Electronic Arts and you would just smile and get all hyped up,
right?
I grew up in the era of Electronic Arts where it was just like, okay, I worked at Comp USA. After moving from Toys R Us and went to Comp USA, not as many Comp USA stories as Toys R Us stories, mind you, but that was during the era where Electronic Arts, they made Madden, whatnot, but they also had your sci-fi games, you had your RPGs, you name it, they were making it. And a lot of times, especially towards the mid to late 90s, they were like, oh, we used to have all these old DOS games, so we're going to make them for Windows 95, Windows 98, but they're going to be super cheap, $5 a piece. They had a game a sim game called Detroit, where basically you could rebuild the car industry from its beginning roots to current time. But they used any game Electronic Arts came out with back in the 90s, early 2000s, whether it be PC or console, was dope. It pretty much was dope.
Yeah.
You would just enjoy it. You saw the Electronic Arts tag, you would get hyped. Nowadays it's completely different. Now, you say Electronic Arts, there's always skepticism.
There's a cloud over the name.
There's a cloud over the name. And the thing is, it wasn't always like that. I remember a period of time, remember EA Big? EA Big dropped the dope games. The SSX series. You say EA Big, you would get hyped. Oh, let's go. And now it's oh, EA. Dang. You know what I mean?
Yeah, as Sailor Poland put in the chat room, well, it's the name, Electronic Arts. They were trying to advance the art form. They are not about art anymore. And on a personal note, they also realize that these sports games, all you have to do is slap a new coat of paint and a roster on it each year, and you can get 3 or 4 years out of any redesign.
Yeah.
And they make so much money off of Madden and FIFA and loot boxes and stuff in there that they don't necessarily care as much about these other experiences, let alone an awesome single-player story anymore, because single-player doesn't have continual money being made off of it.
Yeah.
Which is disappointing.
Think about all the hell they caught for Battlefront.
Yeah.
And think about all the hell they caught for Battlefront. So now you got Squadrons, which I've read, and people have dug Squadrons so far. There hasn't been
good.
There hasn't been the hate that Battlefront got. Because I remember I got Battlefront when I originally bought my PS4. Battlefront came with it, and I was like, okay, cool. I was like, because I like the old Battlefront from the old Xbox, old PlayStation 2 days.
That's
right?
The real Battlefront 2 is from those days.
I was like, yo, that was fun. So let me go peep this. I'm like, what do you mean I can only play online? Where's the single player mission thing? And I was just like, I was like, nah, I can't roll with this. Bye. And I pushed it to the side. And I never push a Star Wars game to the side. Didn't matter what it was. Didn't matter what it was. So as a kid and as an adult, I never pushed a Star Wars game to the side. That was the first Star Wars game I was like, I'm good.
Yeah, mean the Darth Vader edition PlayStation 4 is the first one I bought, and I don't think I put more than 40, 50 hours into Battlefront, and I was done with it. I was like, I'm gonna go play something else. It's just grinding. That's all it was.
The
it was
PlayStation
just grinding
was
the same
sick
shit
looking,
over and over again.
That PlayStation.
The PlayStation itself is gorgeous.
Yeah, it's just a problem you see and it's kind of the trend in games nowadays, is that unless it's a living game in some aspect, it's a lot harder for them to take a chance on it. Now you'll see some indie games on PC and stuff like that, where you get the cool single player story or old school JRPG kind of thing, but not as much in the current console generation, and presumably in the future. Now you've seen Nintendo has their indie program that's kind of interesting and promising from time to time. Microsoft does as well. I'm not sure what Sony does in that regard. I would assume they probably have some kind of program for bringing indie games on board into the PlayStation Store. I'm just not as familiar there. I think that's the real place to play if you want to get those old school game experiences now, is look at the indie games.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Which I'm okay with. Speaking of indie games, Willie, I see you've got a news story that relates to an indie game. It was indie. They went on Kickstarter to get their project created.
Well, I guess so.
Yeah.
Oh. How about that? Well, I know Bachman did too. Yeah. So Friday the 13th, 5 years ago, started the Kickstarter. And then 3 years ago, it finally came out. I believe so, right? In 2017. Does that sound right, Bachman?
Sounds right. Yeah. It's been a while.
And I remember I was excited for it, got it, and then was still excited when I was playing it, and then quickly it kind of kicked in. This is just checking drawers, the game.
Because
that's what you do. You go around the map. Is there anything in this drawer? Nope. Is there anything in this? Ooh, a map. Already have a map. Never mind. Ooh, keys. Is anyone fix the car? Oh, no one's found the battery or the gas. Great.
Yeah.
So yeah,
Great music because it was Harry Manfredini, the actual original Friday the 13th composer. So it had great music, and the designs were awesome. I paid extra. I got the Tom Savini Jason from Hell version of Jason.
same here.
Those gorgeous characters.
Although the
Gameplay is
character
atrocious.
was kind of not really useful to play as. I guess if I didn't like
I
how
think the
slow
only
he was.
kill I ever got as Jason, I got with that skin on, so it looked cool. But yeah, it was.
I've
not
killed
really a
many
fun
people
game.
with Jason in that game, but yeah, but this it's always had trouble after it came out. The legal battles between the rights of Friday the 13th came out, and it stopped pretty much them doing anything more with the game. They were going to put in Jason X and Uber Jason into the game. That kind of
Jason is the one from Jason X.
Well, I mean, like the Jason X map, like the ship.
Oh, the map, the spaceship.
Yeah, that's why I was specifying with that. And yeah, but now is coming out soon. I think this month they will stop the dedicated servers. They're going to shut them down. You will still be able to, however, play peer to peer. So it just won't be dedicated servers. You'll be able to still play like matches though. So that's not going away. Just the dedicated servers.
This is effectively like the final update, isn't
it? Pretty much. They're doing one last final update to patch out the game and everything, and to fix things that have been problems, I guess, for a while, and then that's it. They are done. I mean, they've already moved on to the Predator hunting grounds anyway.
I mean, I played it a little bit when it came out because I ended up picking it up, and I think it was a game with gold at one point in time for Xbox, and it was interesting, but I had more fun watching people play it on Mixer than I did actually playing the game. And that tells you about the last time I looked at it, because Mixer's been dead, 6 months at this point in time?
I was going to ask.
Yeah, it's been a while.
I mean, it was fun to watch. It was half the fun of it was playing with a group of people you would know, I would think, and it always took forever to matchmake in that game anytime I tried to do it. So I don't think Xbox was the ideal stomping ground to play that game.
No. Since I was kind of saying, checking George, there is one great thing about the game and one terrible thing about the game. Let's start with the terrible so we get on a higher note for it. The terrible thing was you had to sit there and wait till the match was over to get your experience before you can go into another game. So you're like going up levels to unlock stuff. Even if you're the first one dead within a minute, you have to sit there and wait. And more than likely, it lasted all the way up to 15 minutes. And so for 14 minutes, you'd be sitting there just like doop, 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 not really doing anything. Yay.
That's annoying.
Yeah, there were some massive flaws in the game design.
And to end on a high note, what the game did greatly was the proximity chat. That I loved with the game. You can only hear people when you get close enough to them, like, hey, you over there? And first they'll start out like you can't really hear them because they're low. And when you get close to them, like, all right, it's like normal. But Jason could do it too. So I played my Jason more like Freddy. So I was like, hey, everybody, you enjoying these lights? Wouldn't be ashamed if I hit this power line. And yeah. Like, hey, Jason's coming. Who's in this house? All right, let me come in. Boom, Jason. I got you. It's fun.
I mean, I'm kind of curious right now how many people are still playing the game on a regular basis. Presumably enough that they want to patch the game out, which I think is a good move to make it so it's peer-to-peer, because if they just shut down the servers, then the game would be dead.
Yep, I mean, you still do peer-to-peer, so you can still play the game online. That's not going to be going away. But also, how many games have you guys played that where the online gets shut off and like a whole section of it just...
City of Heroes, didn't they shut down the online? It was basically dead.
Yeah. Yeah, they finally killed the servers on that one. Whereas there was someone that had kept private servers that they'd made full copies of one of the servers and were keeping them up and running. But it was some like really restricted forum that was hard to get into. And like they made sure it wasn't people screwing around. It was people that like really loved the game and put a ton of hours into it. And like you could get an invite onto the like the super team version of the guilds that would allow you into those servers. So there's somebody somewhere that like set up their own private server that's still running it. But yeah, the company's been shut down. Yeah, City of Heroes, City of Villains. I believe Champions finally died off. So yeah, basically all the superhero games I used to play, they're all dead.
So just for reference,
WildStar killed theirs.
just for reference, I pulled up Twitch right now. There's 174 viewers of Friday the 13th game. Now, granted, this is also a Sunday at 12:30 Eastern, so you got lunch crowd, church crowd, things like that, other things going on. But 174 viewers is kind of insignificant when it comes to Twitch. And that's across multiple people streaming. And the number one person has 86 viewers. So it's one person's got the vast majority of those viewers.
And I will say, it was a sad day when one of my favorite first-person shooter games, when they closed their servers. It was a PlayStation exclusive, MAG.
Oh yeah, I remember that one.
Stood for Massive Action Game. Yeah, you could have. Yeah, pretty much you're on a warfield. You have two. Was it just two, or is there multiple sections of? There's a four maybe. I'm not quite sure. I can't remember because it's been so long. They shut the servers down. Yeah, pretty much it was you with 255 other players, so 256 players going on in this big map doing objectives and stuff, and you're set up in squads, and you had your squad leader. If you had enough experience, you could like apply to be that in this match, and then you could be the platoon leader, and you're all like giving orders and stuff, and you're also running around in there as well, and you can do special things, and you get higher and higher up, and it was just amazing. It was amazing.
Yeah,
I like the whole idea.
It was cool. I wish they'd go back to doing something like that had that many players involved. It's just the other trade-off to that is if you have that many players involved and you become less popular, then you're in matchmaking forever to try and field a large team.
Well, I mean that was only the one mode that had all those people. A lot of them, like it was like maybe half of that, and then you went even shorter down. I think you had just like regular team deathmatch where you had like 8-on-8, but it was like different modes.
It would be fun. I don't think I played it because I don't believe I had it on PlayStation or I had PlayStation at the right time for
PlayStation 3.
I did have a PS3, but I mostly
that's what it was on.
I mostly had it as a Blu-ray player, to be honest.
I can't blame you on that. Yeah. That's what made me get a PlayStation 3 over a 360.
I think. Okay, so sorry, I had a complete brain fart there for a second. Bachman, you want to wrap up the news for us? I'm sure you got something.
I just got a little thing as we keep talking about, remasters and redos and updates. As we get our new Miles Morales Kick-Ass Spider-Man this month, we are also getting the Marvel Spider-Man Remastered, and they've added in 2 more suits to the PS4 Classic. They are doing the Arachnid Rider and Armored Advanced suits. So for those that do go back and play with the new Peter Parker face, where they changed the face model, you're getting the updated version where if you bought Miles Spider-Man, you get the remastered original Amazing Spider-Man game on PS5 for free. You get a new version of the actor that played Peter Parker. They changed the face on it. So basically all the cutscenes will look different. And then, they've added in 2 more suits. And, the Arachnid Rider looked straight up just like some what are they called, Shawn? The original Power Rangers. The real ones.
Super Sentai?
Super Sentai?
Super Sentai, yeah. It looks like a Super Sentai suit. It looks like a full-on Super Sentai suit, and it's really cool looking. And then, the Armored Advanced suit is pretty nice as well. It's a streamlined, like, white armor with a black undersuit and then a red web areas that create the white spider out of the negative space. Just 2 gorgeous suits, but, I mean, I just love the fact it's Insomnia's like, hey, we finished this game. We're going to keep working on this one. But we're going to keep throwing little things on that game that everybody seemed to love so much. And we're not going to charge you for them. We're just going to keep throwing new suits on it. Because I think at this point, they've added like 12 suits to that game after I finished it.
Do you guys hear that? Do you guys hear that? I hear a Spider Droid coming.
So I'm still on my second playthrough of Amazing Spider-Man. And like still enjoying it. Every time I sit down and just go do a little web swinging, go smack some fools around, go beat up a Kingpin construction site. Like, it's always fun. It's one of the most, like, relaxing games besides No Man's Sky that I own. And, it's still just a blast. And it'll be cool, the 2 new suits. And then, I mean, I'm excited to see, Miles. Because now he's got his Spider-Verse suit. He's got his new badass kind of hooded cowl mix where they mixed a hood with a cowl.
Looks awesome.
Like, that suit just looks cool. I can't wait to see how that looks when it's moving in the game. And honestly, like the whole focus system where Spider-Man was kind of weird because they have to have, some type of system where you're building combat. I'm really excited to see how they build up charging up the bioelectricity to do the Venom shock and the Venom blast that Miles does with the added ability of the fact that motherfucker can go invisible. He's the stealth spider. Like, he's the only spider character that can just completely go invisible.
Yeah.
So, like, the stealth missions in the game, I think, are going to be so much better around this time because he doesn't need a stealth suit. He can actually go invisible. So I want to see how they play that. Like, and I mean, Insomniac didn't let us down last time. So I'm super excited for the Miles game. It's going to be a blast.
The reviews are out, and they're pretty good on it so far for both PS4 version and PS5 version. Because remember, it's coming to both systems.
Yep.
You just don't get as good a graphics and longer load times on the PS4.
That's all right. But it also means if I buy my PS4, I get the upgrade for free when I do buy my PS5.
Yes.
Which I like that. Yeah. So we're getting more Spider-Man.
The
It's a
only
good month
thing
for
I would
Spider-Man.
add with that is from what I hear, the saves, you can't move your save game to the PS5 version if you start it on PS4. That's the only thing I can think of.
I don't know. That's a
I just want to say
PlayStation
that.
issue, though.
Yeah, I'm not sure if they are doing that or they're not. I think they said it was up to the developers, or I'm not sure if there's even a possibility. I remember hearing something, but I can't quite remember.
I thought it was you couldn't move your save game for the Amazing Spider-Man or Marvel Spider-Man over, but in theory you might be able to for Miles Morales. I don't remember how they went with it, I'll be honest.
Well, I think you can if you're just playing the PS4 Miles Morales version on the PS5, but if you try and play the PS5, I don't think your save from the PS4 version goes with it to the PS5, so you can just continue on with it. I'm not sure.
I'll put my fanboy hat on for a second. It's one of these moments where I'm just glad it's easier on the Xbox. It just pulls your save from the cloud for whatever game you're playing, and you go.
Well, I mean, technically there are two different games because there's two different systems with two different architects.
That's what they're going to do with the Assassin's Creed games and Watch Dogs and stuff when they use Smart Delivery to install the Series X version or S version.
Oh, cool. I
Same
don't care
thing.
about those games.
I'm just saying, it's something that Microsoft has done that I wish Sony would do in that regard, because I've complained about it is I don't like how they do cloud saves compared to how Microsoft does it, because I actually have to remember to configure things and do it, whereas on the Xbox it just does it and you're good.
I mean, you just set it for automatic, and I never had to think about it ever since then.
I've had stuff that didn't upload to the cloud, even though it's on
Yep.
automatic.
Sounds like a you problem.
Sounds like a problem for Sony because it annoyed me.
From
how much?
September 30th on GameSpot, responding to a player's request on Twitter, Insomniac confirmed you will be able to transfer your save data on PS4 to the PS5
Oh, nice.
because the game supports cross-generational upgrading for free. It's likely many players will do this if they can't find a PS5 right away. I
Good
believe
Lord.
the one that you can't do, Willie, is if, like me, you have your old Amazing Spider-Man saves.
Okay.
If you buy Miles on PS5, you get Amazing Spider-Man for free on PS5. You would not be able to move your PS4 saves of that game to PS5 because that is a separate game.
Yeah, I wouldn't want to anyway.
Upgraded game, yeah, and it's an upgraded, different version of Amazing Spider-Man. But yes, the Miles game. If you buy Miles on PS4, play it on PS4, and then buy a PS5 2 months from now, you will be able to move those save files up.
Yeah, we're just in that weird in between console generations where there's gonna be weird hiccups across the board when it comes to stuff like that, and we'll just have to get used to it for now, or just accept that that's how it's gonna be. Who knows? Maybe I'm being too optimistic.
How's it gonna be?
It's a good day for optimism.
Anymore.
I've been pretty optimistic for a little bit now, and it's a delightful change in feeling. Let's just leave it at that.
Isn't it?
Let's just leave it at that. That being said, looking at the time, we are going to start wrapping things up here in a few. But before we do that, we have one last segment. It's a little bit called What I'm Into. It's our chance to share with you guys who are watching live or listening at a later date just what kind of geeky and nerdy things we've been getting into, so that maybe, just maybe, you would want to go check them out yourselves. I'll kick things off with what I've been getting into. I've got a list right here.
If you're starting, I'll do a little dance for you.
Well, nobody can see that but me right now. But so I'll start things off. Video game wise,
I can see it.
I've been playing Watch Dogs Legion, which I think is really fun. I've enjoyed it a lot. If you like the Watch Dogs series, it is better than Watch Dogs 1, but not as good as Watch Dogs 2, I don't think. That's just how I would classify them. Also playing...
You can recruit like a 72-year-old grandma and have her be your hacker.
You can recruit anyone in the game is the whole concept of it. So I can't remember if I talked about it last week or not, but the whole concept behind Watch Dogs Legion is you have no main character point of view that things work from. you basically dead set gets broken up and they recruit one person to help restart it, and you just recruit NPCs throughout the game, and then once they're recruited they become playable by you. So you change to a different character based off of a skill set that's required. So say you need to break into a police station. If you've recruited a police officer, swap over to that character, and if you're in uniform, the guards pay like half as much attention to you when you're in there, because it makes sense that someone with a police uniform should be in there. Or other people have perks like this person has unlimited hacking distance. So if you know you're going to have to be doing some long range hacks, make sure you're using them. So it's all about recruiting a good team that has good skills and attributes. And I did just...
You're an organization, not a person.
Correct. And you just bounce between people as needed. And I just did recruit the Spy, which is basically a James Bond-esque character. And she's pretty awesome. She has a car with missiles in it, a car that turns invisible. She has a watch that jams everyone's guns and walkie-talkies. It's basically like they took James Bond and just put it all in this one woman's attributes. And it's really cool. And a silenced pistol, so you can just kill people at range with it. It's pretty great. I really like the game. I think it's a lot of fun, but I have not done a ton of the story. I've just been doing side quests because I want to wait until Tuesday when the new Xbox comes out and I upgrade to the, oh, Willie, calm down. And update.
Oh, look at me. I'm getting a next generation console. What are you doing, peasant?
Let me go and continue why I was interested in that, because when the patch comes out that same day to upgrade it to a next gen game, you'll get the cool stuff like ray tracing and stuff like that, which I think could look really cool in this futuristic London world that they've developed. Thank you, Willie. I know you're just shitty because you haven't gotten your PlayStation.
For those audio listeners, I was making a weird face with my tongue out and jerking it, because that's what Chris is doing. Oh, look at the poor people here.
I never said anything like that.
They couldn't push F5 fast enough.
I didn't push F5. I wrote a script that just kept pushing the buy button on my computer. Well, that's neither here nor there.
How to write code.
I copied and pasted it off of Reddit. All I do is how to follow instructions on Reddit.
They're not a mod on Xbox subreddit.
That is true. I'm a moderator on Xbox Reddit. But that's neither here nor there. The last thing I've been getting into, other than, watching current events unfold around me, and we'll leave it at that, was I rewarded myself last night because there was some wrestling to watch. I bought the $50 AEW Full Gear pay-per-view. And holy crap, it was a delight. It was probably one of the best shows they've put on in a while. A couple titles changed hands, like the tag titles and the TNT title. And they brought back Gangrel and Hurricane Helms. I was like, how the hell did this happen? But yes, they did bring them back.
I'm sorry, my ears just perked up. Did I hear a Gangrel?
Gangrel came back.
Gangrel is one of the characters that bugs me the most in professional wrestling.
Through this.
But it was
not really a vampire. We get it.
But it was hilarious.
It's not that. He's the wrong type of vampire.
Oh my god.
In the Vampire the Masquerade role-playing game, there's like 12 different clans. He's a fucking vengeful.
I'm here to bust heads, not suck blood.
He's not a Gangrel type vampire. He should be dressed like a biker that actually turns into a werewolf if he's a Gangrel. Like, they literally just took the cool name but took nothing else from the role-playing game, and it's so annoying.
Well, yeah, that's how Vince McMahon works.
Hear this nerd over here.
Exactly.
So he showed up actually. They had a match. Matt Hardy's been doing these cinematic matches at the Hardy compound. There's been all sorts of different kinds of deletions, the final deletion, things like that. They did the elite deletion where they brought in Gangrel and Hurricane Helms. And Gangrel was on the side of Sammy Guevara, who Matt Hardy was fighting against, who they basically killed at the end of this. So I'm pretty sure Sammy Guevara is basically dead. And I was just laughing because two of the other folks, Santana and Ortiz, who are two tag teamers that are on a team called Proud and Powerful, after the match, they were actually tweeting like it hadn't been pre-recorded earlier. And they're like, 2 Puerto Rican dudes and a vampire looking through the woods for our friend. He might be dead or something like that. And I just started laughing out loud. And I was like, just the suspension of disbelief for the stupidity that happens. It was a ton of fun. As I have come to find watching AEW's events, I got $50 worth of fun out of it. I've bought all but one of their pay-per-views since AEW became a thing. I really enjoy it. I've talked about on this show before that I used to be a huge pro wrestling fan, and I kind of fell off. And AEW brought me back into the fold. I've been having fun with it again. You it's a more free version, for lack of a better term, of pro wrestling, because they're not overly scripting everything like we were seeing the WWF/WWE, things like that. So it feels more organic and just natural. And since they're not number one, they have to try harder, it feels like, in some things. So I've had a lot of fun falling in love with AEW wrestling and really enjoying it, and meeting a bunch of new professional wrestlers I'd never heard of, but also getting that blast of nostalgia with some folks that are still involved in the new promotion. And let's be honest, it's still really cool to see Arn Anderson and Tully Blanchard show up on TV. Let's be honest.
Anytime Arn hits someone with a spine buster, I am happier than could be possible.
Yeah.
Hold on a second. You just brought up an. So when I worked at Food Lion, which was the grocery store, I think it's only in the Southeast, but when I worked there, I swear to God, this guy shopping, I was like, that's fucking Arn Anderson. There's no way that can't be Arn Anderson. He was a regular shopper too.
It might have been.
This guy is Arn Anderson. It looks like Arn Anderson. It's fucking creepy. I'm sure it wasn't, but it looked just like him.
Yeah. Well, that's what I've been getting into. I really enjoyed that pay-per-view, and it was almost 4 hours long by the time it wrapped. If you include the pre-show, which I didn't have a chance to watch, it would have been over 4 hours. The show started at 8, and I think it was like 11:45 when the show ended. And I was like, okay, I got my money's worth out of this. I really enjoyed it.
Did you say it was
And
free?
I love that they do their buy-in live on YouTube.
I remember you saying free, and now you said I got my money's worth. I was like, wait a second.
No. This was $50. When they're televised on TNT, it's part of my cable subscription.
You people can afford $50 for your
I'm pretty sure I never said that.
Sports entertainment.
I feel like I'm being quoted out of context
that's adorable.
now.
Yeah.
You'll get more of it in the future.
I really don't like
That
this
reminds
new
me
character.
of what was that thing from Powderpuff Girls? The him. Yeah, wasn't it him? The devil-looking thing. Wasn't it him?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah,
That's what it kind of reminds me of.
Well, Willie, what do you mean getting into besides busting my metaphorical balls?
I've been finding out, thanks to this Reface app, that my face just kind of goes with it's like a generic face, I guess. Because some of these things, I can't tell a difference. I mean, obviously the women, it's my face. This Reface, pretty much, it's a deep fake app, just to go for it. It puts your face on videos, and it can even do it to random GIFs. I don't know how this technology works. I'm just appreciating that it does. They can just pick up random GIFs that's just been out and about for the longest time. It can detect a face and put your face on it, and it works so well. The fact that it works that well is what blows my mind. It's just seamless. But yeah, I just sent you guys a thing, the Childish Gambino. I think it looks pretty close to it. It doesn't look like
okay. You didn't put boobs on yourself again, so I'm
no. This is Childish Gambino, and I appreciate that it does it even puts my face on that one weird face he makes at the beginning of the music. I love that. That's my favorite part of that whole video is when he makes that face.
Okay,
I just love it. It gets me. It ticks.
Willie, I need to interrupt you
face.
real quick. There was breaking news of 2020 coming back to bite us in the ass. Announced 13 minutes ago on Twitter, Jeopardy is saddened to share that Alex Trebek passed away peacefully at home this morning, surrounded by family and friends. Thank you, Alex. So,
I'm glad you told us.
I think it had to be shared because we've talked about Alex Trebek on here before.
I'm done. My whole what I'm into is done now.
I'm sorry, Willie.
Patriotic answer too. That's not a good way.
Yeah,
I mean, he'd been fighting for a long time.
He'd been fighting for a long time.
Yeah, long time.
80 years. Like that ain't a short run. Like he's world known for a game show that he's been the boss of forever.
Yeah, man.
Is it too soon to make a little joke?
Yes.
Not at his expense. I'm just saying Alex Trebek went to go knock Sean Connery out for doing all those mom jokes. That's all.
Okay.
There's nothing bad. I wasn't going to go that far. Jeez, I'm not an asshole. I'm just a prick.
Well, Willie, I apologize. I ruined everything else you were getting into, but I felt it was worth mentioning on here.
Yeah, that's fair. I guess I'll continue. Reface, awesome. I've been playing Among Us with some people in the PlayStation community. It's been fun. And since we're doing it, we're still doing this Tuesday?
That is the plan.
I have some people coming that some friends of mine that we just played with last night. I didn't know they played. In fact, it was some of their first times playing it. So I have some friends that at least one I know is guaranteed to come in. So we'll have hopefully closer to 10 because we can't seem to get that 10th or all the way up there. Hopefully we'll get there. And What else did I watched? I finally watched all the Mandalorian, the episodes 1 and 2.
I haven't watched
I'm
episode 2
caught up.
yet.
Yep.
Oh, so now you
spoilers.
guys are not the ones who have seen it, and I have.
And did we spoil you?
I didn't appreciate. You know who was trying to spoil it in a bad way, or not? Not in a bad way. The president, not our president. The Stephen John Drew.
Oh,
You can't trust a flip top head Canadian. I've already told you
Oh
that.
my god, he kept putting like, "Oh, I can't believe Chewbacca did that at the end of the episode." He was doing all sorts of stuff like that. I was like, I don't appreciate this because now I don't know what to believe. I don't know if you're being serious or not, and I don't appreciate this. I will say this last episode, it kind of feels to me like a filler episode. That's just me. And when you only have 8 episodes a season, why do you need a filler episode? That's just my thinking.
because not everything has to be sacrificed to the greater story arc. You can do one-offs.
You have 8 episodes though, and
So?
you don't really need a filler episode. I mean, you
I
can
don't know that
give
it's
us-
necessarily filler, but more just kind of a break.
I mean, you
I
shouldn't
wouldn't
say
worry
that.
about it too much.
See, I mean, I'm not. I mean, I'm just saying that's just a thought that I had going through. It's, I'm not saying I'm putting all my chips in this field.
Willie,
I'm not-
I've learned many times over, I'm going to trust Jon Favreau and Dave Filoni because they know what they're doing. And whatever it is they're making, be it Star Wars, other movies, animation, those dudes know what they're doing, so I'm just going to trust them.
Yeah.
And it made me not like Baby Yoda for a little bit. I'm sorry, the child.
What?
I was like, why are you making him do this?
Pretty
Like,
sure I just
that's
heard
all I'm gonna say.
blasphemy.
You'll see. I was like, oh, I mean, I understand he's a baby, but still, like, this is like chaotic. This is like a little bit neutral evil, I'd say. It's a little weird. It's weird. You'll see it. I'm not saying what it is or anything. I just made it like, really? I mean, I understand the one-off. Yeah, that's all right. But he kept doing. Okay. Mando was right when he said no. I
He's
love
a man
Pedro.
of few words. though.
Pedro Pascal. I love
That's
that
true.
guy.
He is
Fucking
awesome though.
Game of Thrones, fucking Kingsman, The Golden Circle. No.
I really
Mandalorian.
enjoy Pedro Pascal
That's all I really
too.
seen him.
I'm
I
just tired
love
of all the
every-
dirt sheets trying to act like he's mad about something on The Mandalorian and leaving because he's like, no, I'm not. I love this job.
I will say he has my favorite moment in Game of Thrones. My most favorite and hated moment is when, if you haven't seen it, this statute of limitations is passed. He dies on it in a gruesome way, and I love that character. Fuck you, Chris.
Yeah, the snake versus the mountain.
Yeah.
That was a
the
great
I've
Viper
seen the
versus the
fight.
Mountain.
Or Viper versus the mountain.
I've
Yeah,
seen the
that
fight.
was my favorite, and it was just so good. The fight was good, and then I was like, and then I remember first watching, I was like, no, I'm done with this show. I'm fucking done. Like, I needed. They kept fucking you every week up to this, and I was like, I need one win. Just need one win. Okay, good. It looks like they're giving us one win. Yay, something awesome. Like, no. I'm like,
Nope.
Nope.
listen here, George Railroad Martin, you mother.
Hey, supposedly the second to last book he's almost done with. I don't know. I don't pay attention to it anymore.
I don't even care. I read them or anything. I don't fucking care. But Jesus Christ, the Viper versus the Mountain. That was the heartbreakingest moment of that entire show for me because I enjoyed Pedro Pascal as that character. I can't even remember the goddamn name beside the Viper because most of the names are forgettable to me. And the whole way the show ended. But we're not here or that.
I'm
But
just
Pedro
surprised
Pascal,
Willie
you're
remembers
awesome.
our
That's all I'm gonna
names.
say. Say what?
I'm just surprised you remember our names.
Well, I say Chris, you motherfucker enough times that I mean
That's true.
it's gonna stick.
That is true. That is true. All right, let's toss
Who's our
things.
guest today? Sorry.
Not cool. Let's toss things over to Anthony. What do you got? What you been getting into?
Playing Dead by Daylight on PC and PS4, trying to keep up the archive battle pass on both. Been keeping my regular streaming schedule. Monday and Wednesday, I'm streaming 3 hours of Dead by Daylight, and then Tuesdays we've been doing Among Us. So keeping that going over on Twitch is Bach2099. Doing the battle pass for the new launch of Season 7 of Apex. New map, new legend. They already kind of pulled back a little bit on the changes they made to the battle pass where like a lot of people played it that first day and like grinded for 6 hours and barely made it to level 2. And a lot of people really unhappy because the Apex Battle Pass is 110 levels. So, like, it takes a while to get it done. But normally, with the 60, 70, 90 days they give you, however long it is, if you play a couple times a week, you could get it done as long as you put in a couple solid hours. And, like, a lot of people on day one were like, I've been playing this game for 6 hours today, and I haven't gone up a level. and so a lot of people were not liking the new system. So they've already made some changes. We're assuming that on the first patch that's going to come out, there'll be some more changes. But a lot of people are having fun. They added in a vehicle this time, so that people are driving around in Tridents, where you can take your whole squad of 3, put them on a vehicle, and fly around sections of the map. Which is really cool and changes a lot of the gameplay and the meta. The new character Horizon has a anti-gravity pad and a black hole that she can throw at people. So that's changing up how games are played. Lots of crazy videos, just people doing weird shit with the bounce pads, the anti-gravity pads, and the tridents. And the vehicles are made to where you can put Rampart's minigun on it. You can put Caustic's traps on it and then ram it into people, and the caustic gas goes off. You can drive away from someone and throw up a dome with Gibraltar on it. So it's really messed up the gameplay and made a lot of weird stuff happen, made some funny videos and some weird game like incidences. So it's been fun to see that. And then watching a couple of series. I finally got they dropped all of season 7 of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. on Netflix. Finally sat down and watched all of that. So I've seen the end of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. finally. That show wrapped up well. Like I almost had a little tear in my eye. Like it was done really, really good. Yeah, that last season was crazy with all they just a bunch of time traveling stuff, hit a bunch of different eras, and got the actors to be able to do a whole bunch of different stuff. And then there's some real tear jerking stuff in the last 2 episodes. So yeah, if you haven't sat down and watched the last season of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. yet, it's definitely worth a watch. And then got caught up on some of my comics, reading Firepower and the new Juggernaut by Fabian Nicieza on my Comixology app. And then what was the other one? Oh, the new Shang-Chi comic, which is really good. And then picked up a couple of books from Captain Comics. Had some crazy stuff going on. Amazing Spider-Man number 49, which was freaking $10, but it's because it's actually Legacy number 850. So they made a big deal, and it's like a quadruple-sized book. Really awesome. Different writer art teams for 3 different sections. It's basically, I think, 3 or 4 separate stories in here. But you get Spider-Man having to team up with the Green Goblin to fight the Sin Eater, who's working for Kindred, and then the reveal of supposedly who Kindred is at the end of it, which was really cool. And then the Web Warriors in the next issue, which was, of course, issue 50 of the current numbering. So then that one was also expanded size and bigger page count. But you got the team of all the other Spider heroes actually fighting Parker, and they're all like enveloped and possessed by the sins of the Sin Eater. So like it's Miles and Spider-Woman and Spider-Gwen and Madam Web, and they're all trying to kick the shit out of Peter Parker.
Oh,
so
cool.
like some really cool shit going on in the book right now. And then also a lot of the books still can't remember which month they did it, but they all have a piece by Tanishi Coates about Chadwick Boseman when he passed, and it's cool because he wrote a page-long kind of just a memoriam for his friend, and it's a really good read if you haven't read it. It's in I think every comic book that came out for Marvel last month, but yeah, really cool, and just an awesome piece of artwork by Brian Stilfreeze of Chadwick Boseman. But yeah, a couple of good comics this month, and I got a couple more to catch up on. And then I was doing my Goodreads challenge for the year. I kept upping the number because, well, with COVID, like I've been home. I was planning on doing 50, then I upped it to 60, then 70, then 80. And after 80 books, I was like, you know what? I'm not upping it anymore. I'm just going to go read something for fun. And I downloaded on the Borrows from Comixology Unlimited is the Ultimate Edition of Death, the High Cost of Living. I had never sat down and read one of Neil Gaiman's apparently best stories. I'm finally reading that, and it is a fantastic book. It has got such cool concepts, the whole death and delirium and all of the embodiments of all the things in that universe he created. But yeah, Death is just such a cool character. And yeah, just enjoying reading that. I'm like halfway through that. So yeah, more than likely I'll probably hit 90 books this year for the Goodreads thing. But yeah,
nice.
COVID and staying home, it's definitely making it easier where I'm getting a whole lot more reading done. But yeah, I'm stopping up in the number because at this point I'm going to start the omnibuses for the boys. And so each one of those is probably going to take me a couple of weeks. So I probably won't crack 90, but hey, I've already read 80 books this year. So I ain't feeling bad about it. I love hitting that Goodreads number. And yeah, hopefully next year we can go back to 50. It'll be more of a normal year. I'll get a job again. Won't have so much free time.
Those boys omnibuses are huge too.
Yeah. And yeah, but in the meantime, man, I'm getting a lot of reading done, and it's nice. And I got the first 5 volumes of the Grant Morrison Animal Man set to read after Death: The High Cost of Living. So I'm going to be able to catch up on some really, really good reading of books that I never had a chance to just, never caught them in my library, didn't buy them as they were coming out, but heard good stuff about it. So yeah, I got some Grant Morrison, I got some Alan Moore coming. I'm reading some Neil Gaiman, adding lots of good stories to my library. Yeah, that's what I've been getting into.
Well, very nice. Let's wrap things up with our guest then. Shawn, what you been getting into? I saw you grabbing some stuff off the shelf, so I'm excited.
Oh yeah.
Okay. Yeah, so because like I always like watch stuff way later, I rarely get there's some things I get to be all right. There's some things I'm able to watch when they come out, but 9 times out of 10 I'm always behind. So some martial arts movies, both of these directed by Donnie Yen, if I'm not mistaken. This is Flashpoint. His martial arts movie is fantastic, and at the end of the film, like he switches up his style to an MMA style, and Donnie Yen whoops a lot of ass. And so like it's it's a cop movie, but it's Donnie Yen style. Fantastic movie, by the way. Then this is an older movie. This one is hella dope. It's called Killzone, also with Donnie Yen and Sammo Hung. It's also a cop story, but like it's not the type of cop story you expect. And lots of people take L's in this movie.
Nice.
And the fight between Donnie Yen and Sammo Hung at the end. Whew, I'm not going to give it away.
That's the final fight is Donnie Yen and Sammo Hung. Oh, I need to see that.
That's the final. That's the final fight. It's the final fight, and like I'm not giving away the ending. I'm not. You just need to watch it for yourself. But it's got like a lot of cool cats in this movie because like the thing with Killzone, it's really an ensemble joint. It's not just Donnie Yen and Sammo Hung. You got all these cats here too, and then all these cops that are involved as well. It's a hell of a movie. It's just really really good. Video game wise, like on my PS4, because once again, always behind. Got like a bunch of like games downloaded, like Tekken 7, which I low key enjoy, and a Need for Speed Payback, which was free a couple of months ago, so I got that. There's this like platform game, is an indie game called Gunman Clive, and like it's like an old school western. You got this cowboy that's just like it's like a platform cowboy shoot 'em up game. And with like ridiculous bosses, like there's one level he fights a dinosaur at the end. So
I'm totally in.
Yeah, it's called Government Clive. It's the HD collection, and I got that a few weeks ago, and I was able to play like a level or two, and it's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun. I enjoy it. It's by a company called Fly High Works Company. Yeah, Fly High Works Company Limited, and it was a lot of fun. I got it on the cheap, and so I was like, yeah, this is cool. Now, old game wise. For the Xbox, the Legends of Wrestling 2.
Yes.
Basically, I play this game to beat the living daylights out of Hulk Hogan on a daily basis.
Who do you beat him up as?
Oh, Andre the Giant.
Oh, nice.
It's Andre. But no,
you only get to beat Andre if Andre says you get to beat Andre.
Exactly. But like the one thing I've been doing in this era of COVID and pandemics, like I said on the last show, is like just buying a lot of old games I always wanted years ago, but now they're a lot cheaper. So I bought all 3 of the Legends of Wrestling games.
Nice.
So, but because like the third one I believe has Sting.
I think it did.
Yeah, the third one has Sting in it. So like I'm excited to finally be able to play some of these, and like I have like all these old Xbox and Xbox 360 games, and I'm interested to see which ones are going to work in the Xbox Series X and which ones are not. Because see, then remind me, oh hey, you keeping that regular Xbox, it's not leaving, and you might have to end up getting a 360 after all, on the cheap. And so but such is life, like I've bought games for years, and like I'm like, yeah, I think like December 2020 and January 2021 may be the time I'll be able to play for a while. And then besides that, Knight Rider Season 1, because of course, why wouldn't you?
Nice.
I loved the show as a kid. And yeah, it's been in syndication and on like television everywhere for like the last like 30 some odd years. But I never really watched it. Like you just get caught up in the nostalgia of it. So with this, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to watch these episodes. And like every episode is corny as hell. And I love it. I absolutely love it because it was just television you didn't question. Things happen for a reason and you didn't question it. Like you couldn't, I don't know if you can make a show like this nowadays. See, nowadays this would probably be considered a kid's show. This would be considered kids action nowadays. Essentially.
I mean, they
But,
tried to bring it back, and it was terrible. In
Yeah,
the
they
mid
tried
2000s.
twice. Yeah, neither one of them worked.
Yeah, we're not going to talk about
Yeah,
those. We're
it
not.
was bad. Where Kit was
I
a
mean,
Mustang.
I mean, I want to hear Mr. Feeney give me instructions as David Hasselhoff.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Mr. Feeney's cool. Like I'm down with Mr.
Sure.
Feeney.
Mhm.
So and then last but not least, Muppet Show season 2.
Nice.
Found this. Actually, I got it for cheaper than $10 at Half Price Books, and I was excited to get this one. So I was always been a big fan of the Muppet Show, and so like I'm glad to at least have season 2. Still trying to find season 1, but the discs were in really good shape, so I was just like, yeah, of course. So finally started watching those, and hopefully I can get the rest of them because like they're all now out of print, but should be able to find them somehow. So that's really what I've been getting into besides, doing this freelance work and, doing these Kickstarters.
I was going to say, running Kickstarters too, so.
Yes. And for those who've been watching this show, thank you again I hope you had a good time. I want to thank Willie, Anthony, Chris. I want to thank all three of you
Sure.
For having me on again. I had a blast. I had fun. Thank you for letting me share these Toys R Us stories. I'm glad Toys R Us is out of business, so they can't come after me no more. If you want to support the Ignition Kickstarter, if you want to support it, go to theignitioncomic.com. It will take you to the Kickstarter page, or you can go to Kickstarter.com. In the search header, type Ignition. You should be able to find it within the search header. I hope you're able to support the project. Like I said, it's a mix of the Transporter meets Drive meets the Fast and Furious with a little bit of Driver in between. So I hope you dig it. I hope you can support it. And if you can't support it, just spread the word. And so I can't thank y'all enough for having me on the show. I have a good time.
Hey, anytime. And for those that it's also in the show notes. You can pull it out of the show notes. We'll have links to all of that stuff and the episode description. It's going to be everywhere. You guys will easily be able to go and find the comic.
Willie got something to say.
Yeah, Willie's got something, and I'm scared.
If I don't catch it the first time, I'm gonna definitely be there for the remix to Ignition.
Hot and fresh out the kitchen?
You goddamn right.
Oh, the glee on his face. He was waiting for it. He couldn't wait.
He couldn't contain it.
He couldn't wait. Oh.
I've been thinking about that the whole episode, not gonna lie.
Well, on that note, thank you everyone who's watching live or listening at a later date for joining us. Shawn, thank you for joining us. We always love hearing what projects you're working on. All your Toys R Us stories, of course, are also great and fun to hear too.
Oh, you're more than welcome. Thank you again for having me, y'all. I appreciate y'all a lot. Thank you.
And I'm sure we'll have him back in the future, everyone, before you start sending us messages. Be like, hey, when's Shawn coming back? I only care when Shawn's here.
Yeah, in December, when like the third week of December, as Christmas is rolling up, he's like, "Oh, I got about time to play some video games." He goes, "Oh shit, I just had an idea for 3 more comics." Never mind. He'll be off writing.
Always busy.
Probably.
Always busy.
So on that note, we are getting out of here, and we will see you all next week for another episode of the show. Head on over to Geeks.live, 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central. Bye, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to this brand new episode of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. Don't forget, we'll be back next Sunday live at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central over at live.atgnpodcast.com, channel 3 of the Alpha Geek radio app, and over at our network home at gonnageek.com/live. If you have any feedback for the show, please contact us atgnpodcast@gonnageek.com, on our hotline number at 304-806-ATGN, or even better, go to Twitter and send us a message at ATGN Podcast. The music you've heard in this show is produced by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at incompetech.com.